Democratic State Senator Doug Jackson. Appreciate very much your time. Thank you very much for coming in.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You've had a busy legislative session. A lot of legislation this particular session regarding guns, gun rights, guns and alcohol, where guns should be permitted. You're a sponsor of several of those pieces of legislation. Before we get to the individual pieces of legislation, has there been an impetus? Has there been something that drew this issue to the top?
Well, I know there might be a perception, particularly given the amount of media coverage of gun bills. It seems to be a snazzy issue, and there's a lot printed about the issues. And I know there might be a perception that we're preoccupied on the gun issue. And I know guns are it's an important issue to a lot of people in Tennessee. There are more important issues up there, arguably, and we certainly recognize that, and we're not neglecting those other important issues. But the fact remains is we've not been able to move forward on many of these bills because of the House. And in years prior, these bills have passed the Senate, but a subcommittee of the House has refused to let these bills go forward. And so now the makeup of the House has changed, and that committee makeup has changed. So all this compression through the years has suddenly been relieved, and we're seeing lots of bills move that should have been moving in previous sessions.
Not really a lot of gray area with some of these bills. You're either for them or against them. I guess the question is, regarding the guns and alcohol, you know, if it passes this week in the state legislature, it would allow carry permit holders to bring their weapons into establishments that sell alcohol, restaurants and bars. Why the need for that?
Well, to me, that is the flaw of the argument. Once we start doing a needs assessment, you know, what is different today than maybe a few years ago is that the Supreme Court has now determined that the right to bear arms is, in fact, an individual right that's guaranteed by the Constitution. And the Bill of Rights is very important to all Americans. And I certainly go down with a liberty ship on this issue. I want to defend and argue for all of our civil liberties and not allow erosion of those. Given the fact that it is a constitutional right, I don't think the fair way to judge this is based on need to allow citizens to keep and bear their arms. I think the question should be need on the part of the government to restrict that right. So putting it in that context, I looked at this issue critically and came to the conclusion that there is no need for government to restrict the right. And in 1997, we passed a law that allowed citizens to carry handguns. We've had an excellent record, safety record, but we did restrict those handguns from being carried where alcohol is served, and we felt like at that time that was good judgment. Now we see 40 states allow citizens that have handguns to carry their handguns where alcohol is served. Those states we don't see patterns of abuse or problems. There's no significant statistic that tells us that law-abiding citizens can't be trusted in that setting. Let me put this in perspective for you. We have 220,000 permit holders in Tennessee right now. Last year, 278 of those permit holders had their permits revoked because they were charged with a felony. Now, most of those felonies didn't involve use of their handgun, but they were charged, not convicted, just charged with a felony, 278, and as a result, they automatically lose their permit. 278 permits are revoked. That is 12 ten-thousandths of 1% of the permit holders. So, you know, again, statistically, what we see is permit holders can be trusted. And there is a right to carry those guns, and certainly, you know, it is when you're born and take your first breath, you have the right to defend your life. God gave you your life, and arguably, you certainly have a duty, not arguably, but you do have a duty to protect your family. And the logic of disarming Americans for no purpose, when we know that crime is taking place. And every morning when I turn on Channel 2, I get to hear about a heinous crime that occurred that night. And these crimes are victimizing good Tennesseans, in many cases totally innocent. So what is the premise that government should tell law-abiding citizens that you cannot be armed in a way that you can defend and protect your own life or the life of your family?
Senator Doug Jackson, appreciate very much your insight into these issues. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Stay with us. This week continues after this.